Welcome to the Daily Truth Report. I'm your host, Noah, and back with us today on a special day, on a day handpicked by our guest, is Bo Polny. Bo, welcome back to the show. It's a pleasure to have you.
Noah, as always, absolute pleasure to speak with you. Thank you for having me, and look forward to talking with you today. Thank you.
Oh, I look forward to these chats so much. And you are back. You actually reached out to me and you said, "Hey, this is a important date." And when the man of time calls you and says it's an important date, then you tend to listen and you find time to talk. So thank you for reaching out, and we're going to talk about why today is important. But Bo, I thought just real quick we'd go back, and we always have a lot of new people joining us each time we do one of these shows. Some people may never have seen you before. So a quick intro, Bo, and you can see on the screen there, it says analyst of time. So Bo doesn't always know what's coming, but he knows the rhythms of time and the cycles of time. And if you know anything about your Bible or anything about the way this world is organized and created, things are in definite cycles. Things happen in definite rhythms. And Bo studies those, and then he puts out reports. And some of his prior reports have been absolutely incredible. Last year, he said something amazing, something big is going to happen on April 20th of last year. And sure enough, that was the day oil went to negative $60 a barrel. Never before happened in anyone's lifetime. We've never seen that before, haven't seen it since. Then he said the next date to look for was in September, I believe. And it was the date. It looked like nothing was happening. And then all of a sudden, about 8:00 p.m., we got news that Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg had died. And our world looked different after that. And also last year, he predicted the exact time. He said, watch the stock market. We're going to have a major plunge. And it happened exactly the time he said it was going to happen. So when Bo speaks, we tend to listen and what he has to say. He has been watching for a very hot summer. Funny, it lines up a lot with what a lot of the prophetic voices are saying. And sometimes I'll tell Bo, I'll say, "Hey, Bo, did you know that so-and-so said this?" And he said, "No, you got to send me that clip." So we are in the thick of it right now. And Bo, that's my intro. I want you to take it from here. Go ahead and tell us where we've been this year and why now is so important.
It is rather fascinating how when we line up these timelines, how critical or key important events happens on specific dates. If we're in biblical times, everything that is happening should be rotating around the number 7, because if you study Revelation, there's a timeline in there by Daniel who basically speaks of a 7-year cycle. And so if we are in end times, we should be experiencing or witnessing events that are rolling around and we're in relation to a number 7. And that's what we're going to talk about today, Noah. Look around the world. It says in the Bible, when the Lamb of Judah opens the first seal, the world will never be the same. And we are in end times. That started last year, 2020. That doesn't mean the world's going to come to an end 7 years from now. No, it's not, okay? And it's not an end of the world. It's an end of days, as you know them. The cycles have started. Year 2020 was the start of everything. And all I can tell you is, look around and everything has changed. It's incredible what you see going on in the news right now. And it all started last year. Nothing is normal anymore, Noah, and that is the truth. I included a PDF presentation, as I always do. So to all your viewers, please download the presentation. I'm sure Noah's going to include a link to the presentation. Please download the PDF, save it to your computer, print it if you choose. But I have added more information to an ongoing presentation. So we're going to discuss slides that are new. Old slides are still remain because they are still all valid. So as we go through this, Noah, please ask questions. But we did schedule this interview for today, specifically today, because today, July 9, 2021, is 444 days from oil going to zero. This is supposed to delineate, this time point is supposed to delineate completion, perfection, the end of time of God's grace. So no more grace. Everything that we've seen go on in the world is because God has been waiting and giving the other side time to repent, time to stop what they're doing, and time is cut off as of today. So starting this weekend into next week, I expect everything to begin to change. And so by the time we get to Thanksgiving, a whole new world we should be in. So everything's supposed to start to change now. If you do recall the interview I did with Greg Hunter of last November, when it was Thanksgiving, I said the first Thanksgiving and the greatest Thanksgiving in history is going to be the Thanksgiving of 2021. That's a good preface into what we're going to talk about today, Noah, but it's really exciting where we are in our world. God is not going to stand for what has happened, Noah. There's no way. God will not stand for what has happened, but he has given grace because God loves, even the people that are doing what they're doing, God loves them. He created them, right? So he loves them, but he's going to go only so far. And then when grace ends, now, today, this weekend, we're going to see crazy start to unfold because God's going to start to unleash. As I did speak in our last interview as well, too, where it talks about Isaiah, where this is the year of the Lord's favor, but it's the day of his vengeance, right? So all we need is one day. There's going to be one day that everything begins or everything changes. It's like the Red Sea moment. Everything was hopeless. And within 24 hours, everything changed. It was 180 degrees difference. So by the end of this year, actually by Thanksgiving of this year, our world will be 180 degrees different from where you and I today stand, Noah.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, Bo, I'm glad you started there because the biggest question I get from everybody, I told everybody you were coming back on the show today, and the biggest question I get is how much longer? Why is there going to be continued delay? You know, we looked at June, we've looked at April, we've looked at January, and what I'm hearing you say is there's been an intentional delay. It's been a window for these people to change their course, to turn around, to make a different decision. But I loved what you said. That delay is over.
Yeah, that's basically it. You know, a God would only take it so far. So eventually, at some point, God is going to do what he's going to do. He doesn't want to bring vengeance. But remember, he says, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. The only entity that can take down Goliath is God. We've basically got this financial system that's based on air. They create money out of air. The Goliath is the financial system. And so something has to happen. And if God doesn't intervene, as you've seen, Noah, this will never change. This will never change. They want the status quo that they've had for generations.
That's right.
They've created this system that works for them, a system of enslavement that works for them to keep everybody poor. They remain wealthy, and their wealth allows them to control the world. And that is how everything runs. And this is where we live. And so until something changes and until God steps in, I can't see anything changing. That's why, we're waiting. All the prophets have spoken, right? Everyone has said all these things, but yet nothing's changed. And the reason nothing's changed yet, Noah, is because God allowed a timeline, a time window, and the time window ends today. Please go back to our prior interview. You know that these slides were in there, and we talked about specifically July 9th was 444 days. That time point is here. It is now. All I can tell you is there is no more time. God's vengeance is about to be unleashed. God is a God of love, and he's a judge, okay? And he's about to start to judge because they cannot do what they've done and get away with it. And without getting into all the details, just look around. You know what they've done, okay? You know what's been done in this world, okay?
That's right.
We don't need to say that. We don't need to say it, okay? People know what's been done. And so now it's just a matter of time. When? Okay, well, when starts now. So that's where we can start, Noah. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, we did talk about this last time and for a couple times now. I've got it up on the screen there. Today is 444 days, bringing us to July 9th. But why is that number important? Fill us in on why 444 is important.
Scroll over to page 37, Noah.
Okay, and by the way, these slides are absolutely beautiful. You go to there's going to be a link right below this video, wherever you're watching this. You can download these slides. These are absolutely incredible. Bo spends his time to create these and does them all himself, all from scratch, and absolutely beautiful stuff. So
you're asking questions about why is 4 so important. Well, if you read through it, there's 4 seasons of the year. There's 4 points on a cross, 4 gospels of Jesus. So 4 itself is just biblically a very, very important number. 4 is a fraction of, if you take 444, 333, you end up 777. So some of the most powerful numbers in the Bible are related to the number 7. And you got the Trinity, right? So you got Father, Son, Holy Spirit. So you got 777. How do you win slots, right? 777s. So 7 is the most powerful number spiritually. Then you can break it down. You pull out the 3. You got 333. What you're left with is 444. 444 is today, July 9, 2021, from oil going to zero. Slide 7 is a summary of a majority of all these slides. So I've made this one slide that we can talk about today, Noah, because it really does summarize beautifully what we want to talk about. Why is 777 such an important number? Because it all starts with Trump, okay, number 45. He wins the election November 8th, 2016. Now, in the Bible, remember, Daniel wrote a timeline. It's called Daniel's timeline. It's a 7-year cycle, so basically 3.5 years and 3.5 years. So 1,260 days from when Trump wins. We knew that was going to be an important day because we talked about that way before, Noah. And so I said something big happens, and I had no idea what was going to go on. But on that exact date, 1,260 days, oil went to zero. Or actually negative 30. That equated to Noah's Ark. That's the day that God closed the door to the ark, okay? So cycles are replaying themselves biblically with new events. These new events now would be, instead of the door closing to the ark, the oil goes to zero. So that marks the start. How amazing is this? But from 777 days from when Trump wins the election, you have the exact, not almost, you have the exact bottom of the stock market first crash on December 24th, 2018, first bottom of the stock market. On December 24th, Christmas Eve, I think a lot of people remember that, but that was on Christmas Eve of December 2018. That was the bottom. The next day it went up. Okay, so 777 days to the exact day. If you scroll over to page 6, you'll have a look at why also the number 7 relates to Trump. Okay, so on page 6, he was born on June 14th, 1946, when there was a blood moon over Israel. Now, interestingly enough, exactly, this is not almost, okay? You have to remember, in the Bible, there's no such thing as coincidences. So 700 days later, to the exact day, Israel was proclaimed a state. The first Jewish state in over 2,000 years, foretold by Ezekiel over 2,500 years ago. So what are the odds of 700 days to the exact day of that event? Okay, it gets better. Okay, so from his birth, 70 years, 7 months, 7 days. So there's your triple sevens.
Yep.
Trump's first day in office as president. None of this is like random, okay? Because there's no such thing as coincidences in the Bible again. So if we head back to page 7, then within the first 1,260 days, we have revelations start to occur. So we've got first seal opens. That was the coronavirus. We've talked about that. And the world changes forever. That was in prior videos. Then from then you have the March crash of 2021. That's the opening of the third seal, but we haven't had the third seal manifest, okay? The third seal manifest is the taking down of Goliath. So right now the third seal is just in limbo. And then that takes us to exactly 1,260 days, oil going to zero. Now equates to the door closing on Noah's Ark. So that ended the first cycle. Now starts the second cycle of 1,260 days, but ultimately it's a 1,335-day cycle. So you have the water breaking of the Edenville Dam exactly 30 days later. 40 days later is Pentecost, and that's when all the riots broke out, and that's the second seal of Revelation opens riots across the world because the latter temple was born. So that's the birth of the latter temple. So as of now, the latter temple that's written about in the Bible, that latter temple, that's the bride, because the bridegroom is coming, right? So the bride's only 1 year old as of this point in time. That takes us to Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah was 150 days, and that's when Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, and that's the maximum height of Noah on the Ark of the Water. Then it started to recede. So it's really fascinating how all these specific time points line on biblical calendar points. And then that took us to, remember, a last or several prior interviews, how we were talking about how important April 26th was. You remember all that, right? April 26th, that ended being Passover. Noah steps off the ark. That's a time point. And based on Enoch, that was exactly Passover. There's also a thing called the second Passover. But bottom line was that was a feast date. It was Passover. April 26th was supposed to be a very important date. April 26th was when the Maricopa County audits officially began. California gets the official votes required to recall Newsom. The leaked video of John Kerry officially proves he violated the Logan Act on behalf of Obama and Biden. But I think the most important thing that happened specifically on the 26th of April, and that's page 34, was the Maricopa County official audits began. That happened on that exact date. Okay. So why is that important? Well, that's like the death of Ginsburg, right? It leads to something, which is step 2. So step 1 is the event that actually has to happen. So that is going to end up leading to truths being revealed, and it all starts on that, or started on that specific date. That's how these timelines and cycles work, as you're starting to see. So if we go back to page 7 again, and that was 370 days. So that's not a 4. That's not a completionary number. So that took us to 400 days. And this is where it really starts to get interesting. If you scroll to page 36, this is what we showed you last time in our interview. 36 talks specifically about the center of end times. So again, look at this, study it, because it's mathematically impossible for what's going on here. How is that possible to have these blood moons, and more specifically the eclipses, pattern out like that to the exact day? It's mathematically impossible. This is by design. I repeat, this is by design.
Yeah, I think this is one of your most incredible slides.
It's fascinating. And then if you look at May 26th as being the dead center, so that's the dead center between the old era and the new era. And how crazy is it that it's specifically 400 days? So if you go back to page 7 again, so you got 400 days, the center of end times. Spiritually, the world stepped into the new era. What does that mean? It means that spiritually God spoke, something transitioned within the spiritual realm. And so we are in the new era. However, we're not witnessing or experiencing it yet.
Right.
So that's interesting. But 44 days takes us to today, which is 444 days, which is a completionary number, means that things can start to change on the 445th day. And interestingly enough, 45 days, just like our president, right? 45, right? The cycle would then start tomorrow, Saturday, the 10th, which is like the 45 days from 400. So that means that something right here, right now, is about to go down. That's how exciting all this is. And then if we go to actually the 440 mark, and you remember what just happened this weekend, right, was all the prophets. So if you go to the 440 mark, that takes us back to page 37. So the prophets gathered at the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville.
That's right.
And please listen to the words, prophetic words by Hank Kunneman. Quote, "Something grand is taking place. Let there be a new sound, a shift to this nation now." Remember, that was at 440 days, 4 and a 0. "Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord upon America," and 45. Those were his words. 45 days from 400 is tomorrow, Saturday, July 10th.
I love what you haven't read there.
Time is up. That's all, completion, perfection. Time is up at any moment in time. No one knows a day or the hour. And I mean day and I mean hour. I'm not talking week, okay? No one knows a day or the hour, but I'm talking at any moment in time, as early as today, tomorrow, something's about to blow. Something's about to happen. I'm telling you, by the middle of July, which is, like 5-6 days from now, by middle of next week, we're supposed to see something. We're supposed to see something begin to happen. So we are at that moment in time right now. 444 is critical for a turn, and it is now.
Talk about this one for a little bit. We're now in summer, and that that's a big deal, isn't it?
Like we talked about before, evil, prophetically, these were not my words, these are the words of the prophets, okay? Evil was given a season. If we say it was winter, because it was potentially all of winter, it should have started by the end of spring. So we were thinking by the end of spring, maybe something happens, the day of vengeance. The point is, spring ended on June 19th. So now we're in summer. The season that evil was given, was it winter or was it spring? I thought it was winter, might have been spring. Bottom line is, if it was winter or spring, if it was spring, this is over. There is just no time left here, Noah. 444 days is now. So we're in summer. It started on the 20th, and we've got into September 22nd for summer. Evil was given a season, whether it was winter or spring, I don't care. Season's finished. The day of, remember, this is the year of the Lord's favor and the day of his vengeance. Something is about to blow here, Noah, and it is imminent. That's all I can say. It is so exciting. We've waited so long for this. I don't know. You just cannot drag this out anymore, Noah. All the words of the prophets will be proven true by 4 cycles of 45, which takes us to just before Thanksgiving. But all heck's about to break loose between now and next week. So we're about to see something go down. We've got the first 45 days starting tomorrow, the 10th of July. So that's what I can tell you. If you want to go back, let's go back to page 7 and we can continue on.
Well, thank you for saying that. I think that's really important. But we're just saying right now, we haven't gone anywhere. We're still standing here. We're still standing with the prophetic voices. And we're ready for that day when everything turns around in an instant.
The prophets didn't get it wrong, Noah. They did not get it wrong. The precise prophets and those ones that were on stage in Nashville, okay, they did not get it wrong. God speaks through them, okay? They did not get it wrong. It's just a matter of time, because God does things in times and seasons. And, people may not believe that there's times for things. There are times for things. Just like you can see all these timelines that I've illustrated that have all been critically important since Trump got elected. Okay, all these things, events have happened on all of these time points. This is page 7 is not a random page. Everything has happened precisely with regards to time. The prophets will be proven 1,000% right this year, and our world will be at a 180-degree shift by Thanksgiving. 4 cycles of 45 degrees is 180 degrees. So on a big picture perspective of this, so Trump gets elected, 1,260 days, oil goes to 0. We then progress forward 444 days. That takes us to today. At the 400 mark, that was exactly the center of time. So now we're at 45 days tomorrow, July 10th. Does something happen tomorrow? I don't know, no, but we are like at a point where something huge is about to blow. And I mean blow. The hand of God. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. The day of vengeance. So something is about to happen. So between now and next week, something goes down, or supposed to happen mathematically. The prophets all got it right. They're about to be justified. So that takes us to the next cycle. So we talk 45 days. 4 cycles of 45 days is 180. Well, what's 180 degrees? The exactly opposite direction, right? So the way we're looking at the world today, we're going to be looking at it 180 degrees difference by Thanksgiving, because 180 days is November 22nd, 2021. Thanksgiving is 3 days later. We're here. We've talked about this. Something needs to happen, and God is not going to let stand. I repeat, God will not let stand what has gone on in this world. So something is about to blow. We're about to see the hand of God. Something huge happens. So by the end of this year, everything is different. Something is about to shift, and then 333 days later, so that would complete another 777s. That takes us to June 7th of 2022. So we're in the cusp of huge events and shift. If you look at the calendar, we've got between 2.5 years to, I believe, 3.5 years. So we have 3.5 years, because it's going to be the 8th year after the 7 is complete, before the 9 starts. So we've got 3.5 years to prepare, because it's incredibly important to be ready for what's coming into this world by the year 2024 into 25. By 25, I believe famine is going to start to hit this world. And it's not going to be pretty. So we were supposed to see a stock market crash in June, right? So we talked about that. What happened? So on June 4th was the actual top. I did an interview with Greg Hunter on that exact date, and the stock market topped on June 4th, and Monday, June 7th, the stock market, the Dow, because I've been watching the Dow dropped precisely for 10 days consecutive. Okay. No plunge. Why? Because they print money to prop it up. What does God care about? To take down Goliath. How do you affect everything? How do they control everything, Noah? If you go to page 23, that shows you it's the US dollar. Okay. Mm-hmm. This is Goliath, the US dollar, Goliath.
Yep.
Why do I say that? If the dollar had a sudden, remember, God's a God of sudden. That's how he does things. Suddenly, it's all over the Bible, and suddenly everything changed. Okay.
That's right.
God's a God of sudden. So if the dollar drops suddenly, you with me?
Mm-hmm.
Think about what that affects. If the dollar dropped 20%, the stock market automatically gets a 20% haircut. The bond markets get a 20% haircut. Real estate gets a 20% haircut. Everything gets a haircut. And because everything's leveraged, that's where it gets ugly. Because 20% leveraged is hugely problematic for the people who are leveraged. So that's what's coming. That's the problem. God is taking down Goliath. We've talked about that in numerous presentations before. We talked about this is the year of Jubilee, from when Nixon took us off the gold standard. We're in year 50, which ends by the end of August. 50-year ends, which means the dollar drops. The dollar loses, potentially, I believe it's going to lose its world reserve status. Mm-hmm. When that happens, that takes down everything paper. It's not about the stock market. Who cares about that? It's about Goliath. Take down Goliath, and you take down the financial control mechanisms that they have. And that automatically puts the fire under gold and silver. That puts the fire under those, under the cryptocurrencies, which are not God's money, but temporarily going to be a fantastic way to transition into the new monetary system. So God is about to take down the dollar. The dollar is Goliath. That is what's ruled and controlled this world for generations. And it's over. The dollar's not going to zero. The dollar is just going to lose the two words. It's faith and confidence. And so when the deep secrets are revealed, that are about to be revealed, what do you think that does to faith and confidence, Noah?
Yeah, plunge.
Because it's all about faith and confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And when the truth gets out, the truth will set us free. But the truth will be devastating, Noah, to those who have done what they've done.
That's right.
The time window is crunching. Okay, it's a year of Jubilee with a day of vengeance, and the year ends by the end of August. So we are now less than 60 days from all this going down.
Okay.
It started, if you go to page 24, you'll see Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
So from Yom Kippur, that started the rise from 10,000 up to 65. Bitcoin's pulled back to 33,500 as of yesterday. Okay. Mm-hmm. So Yom Kippur comes up on September 15th, 2021. So that officially starts the next year. Okay. Year of Jubilee. So the 50 would end before Yom Kippur starts, or Rosh Hashanah even starts. So Rosh Hashanah starts the beginning of September. By the end of August, the 50-year cycle ends, which means the dollar takes it in the pants. Faith and confidence is lost in the dollar. And that event is going to put the rocket fuel on precious metals. They're going to start to move aggressively, and Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies. So we're at a point where massive world shift is about to happen. And for those who are freaked out about Bitcoin losing half its value from 65, okay, let me tell you, Bitcoin runs and it has what's called a spike and a blow off top, okay? Nothing in that
cycle that you're looking at that just looks a little rounded dome, okay?
Mm-hmm.
That is nowhere near a blow off top, okay? So anybody's freaked out about Bitcoin, that it's going to go to, crash, go to zero. Sorry, not going to happen, okay? Bitcoin, the alternate coins, the coins we talk about, Noah, they're going to have an amazing 2022.
Okay.
And I've talked about before, Noah, we're still looking for 200,000 Bitcoin this year. Okay.
This year.
How does that happen? Yes, this year. How does that happen, Noah? With the dollar taking it in the pants, with a world reserve currency losing its status, okay? With God intervening and taking down Goliath.
Let me see if I make sure I'm understanding here. Right now, we're at $33,000 Bitcoin, and you cover this a lot more in detail in your newsletter that you put out. So I don't want to go into it too much, but you're saying you still think 200,000 Bitcoin could happen this year. That's a big move.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. It's coming this year. It's going to blow through 100,000 this year, and it's going to shoot up, because that's what it does. It's going to explode into 200,000. Okay. 100,000 is a warm up. We've got an exciting year coming, and I'm telling you why. Because, and again, God's not doing this for Bitcoin. He's doing this for his money. He's going to take down the financial system. He's taking down Goliath, which is the dollar, which basically encompasses all the financial systems, not just the stock market. The stock market is just a piece of the puzzle. It's a piece of the pie. The dollar is the thing. That's Goliath. The Goliath must fall. Just like David. David took him out, okay? God's going to take out Goliath this year, and we're going to see it go down. And it all is going to start, and it will occur, the event. I mean, that doesn't bring it to zero. It means the event that transpires is imminent, and we will clearly see it before the year of Jubilee ends, which would be the end of August. And I believe, since we're at the 444 day mark today, the 9th of July, I think at any moment in time, we could see the fireworks start. So something big is about to shift. That then shifts what's called the financial system. When the dollar and the financial system start to break, suddenly gold, suddenly cryptocurrencies start to rocket. So I'm telling you, those who've been preparing, those who are concerned, you're nothing to be concerned about. And those who've been preparing, congratulations, because you've done the right thing. You should by now own precious metals. You should own specifically silver. That's not financial advice. That's basically what I believe in, those prophetically, what's been spoken by God about the precious metals. It's silver is the one that's going to be the most powerful one. It has a lot of key industrial uses, which will be critical for this new era in time. The first page talks about a new era in time. It comes this year. It's gonna be this year, 2021. 2021 is the critical year where everything changes. We're not going to get out of this year before everything is 180 degrees different. It started at the center of time, which was May 26th. And so 180 days from that time point takes us to 3 days before Thanksgiving, with 45 days, the first turn being potentially as early as tomorrow or something by next week. So this month of July, potentially next week, we're supposed to see something huge begin to occur. So extremely exciting times, Noah. The prophets have spoken. They did not get it wrong. And boy, those ones that, that God gave them grace, he gave them time. He gave them time to repent, and their time ends now.
No, that's Bo. That's why I love having you on the show. It's really great to hear you say that, and it's great to see you standing with these prophetic voices. We stand with them. I want to go on record right now saying that we're continuing to stand with them. They did not get it wrong. I love hearing you say that, and that's why we love having you on the show, because you do not hold back. You are saying now's the time. You're not saying it might be later, it might be now. You're saying it's now. And you're saying some really big things are going to happen by the end of the year. And then you're talking about the dollar and the stock market and Bitcoin. And those are some pretty bold things to say. So I love it. When you come on, you give us hope, and you give us a lot of things to look forward to. So that's awesome. Before I forget, I wanted to take you to this page that I've got up on the screen. I love getting your newsletter. You do an update. What would you say? Every couple of days, you do an update for anybody that doesn't get your newsletter. Tell me a little bit more if they were enjoying the talk about Bitcoin. Tell me a little bit more. You cover a lot more than just Bitcoin. What do you do in the newsletter? Tell people what they can expect. And it's not for everyone, right? Who's it for?
Bitcoin, like everything else, has a cycle. Okay, it has highs, it has lows. Last year, since the low and then the start, the key entry that we had last April 1st, we've had some coins that have just exploded. And more important, the cycle that we followed since last year, this is the most important part. If we start from April of last year to July now, that's like 15 months. 15 months. Our cycle was nearly dead on accurate for 13 of those months. That's mathematically impossible, but the cycle was. That's how accurate we had that cycle for nearly 13 of 15 months. And now the cycle is about to kick in a gear again, and wait till you see what's next. Like, it's so exciting, right? But more importantly, the cycle itself, it dictates specifically when a major high could hit. And there is a very big high coming in this year. And actually there's a couple in the not too distant future. So the cycle itself can give key critical time points or dates that Bitcoin runs in. And so right now we've got a lot of excitement about the trigger here for Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies, including gold and silver. So there are critical dates here in July, and then specifically in August for the precious metals and for cryptocurrencies. So that's what I can tell you about the cycle. Now, with regards to Bitcoin, Bitcoin is like the granddaddy, but then there's these alternate coins that you can see some pictures of them, that we cover some of them, more of them as well in our report. We cover actually, I think, 11 or 12 cryptocurrencies or alternate coins. Some of these, and more than half of them, are up thousands of percent. I repeat, thousands of percent over Bitcoin since last year. Okay, so that's what makes the alternate coins exciting, because as great as Bitcoin is, it's up like 400% since last year. That's fantastic, right? But some of these alternate coins are up 5,000%, 4,000%, 6,000% over Bitcoin. So that's what makes them exciting. And because we have another leg vertical coming, in the report, we provide some critical or some really important alternate coins you want to be holding, because as Bitcoin goes, the other ones are become rocket fuel and they really explode relative to the movement of Bitcoin. So that's what I can tell you if you're already involved with the cryptocurrencies. Really exciting times ahead. We also cover gold and silver in our exclusive turn dates, for gold and silver. And for those of you who are not involved in cryptocurrencies and want to get involved, you don't need the Bitcoin index, okay? You first need to know how to get involved. So on the next page, I've helped my son create a little school, but it covers from A to Z how to buy your coins, how to move them around, how to get specific coins that you want to hold. And then lastly, which is the most important part, how to safely store them. Because you can buy all this stuff and you don't store them safely, most likely you're going to lose them all. There's a probability of that happening. So it's critical to make sure you know how to store them safely. From the Bitcoin index, for those who are already involved, to those who want to get involved, you got the Easy Crypto School. But that's a little introduction as to, what we do. And I think there's a couple of codes on there that we stick on there for you as well, Noah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Bo, the only thing I want to add to that is when we did our interviews a couple months ago when Bitcoin was at 60,000, I was getting emails from people saying, well, thanks for telling me about it now. It's too late and I can't get in, and you're only telling me about it after it went up. No, folks, I've been getting Bo's newsletter for over a year. He's been on these things since the very beginning. But if you didn't like Bitcoin and some of the other coins when it was at 60,000, you're kind of getting a second chance at it here at 30. So I'm not a financial advisor. Bo's not either. Bo is an analyst of time and cycles, but I just talk for what I'm doing, and I sure feel good about getting a few extra coins right now while it's down low, because if it's going to 200,000, I'm going to be on board that train.
Well, the number one rule of trading, right? And this is not my financial advice to you. This is just a rule of trading, right? Buy low, sell high. Okay. So you've got an opportunity because prices are low right now. If you're looking to get in, well, you got an opportunity right now. How long it's going to be? There's an opportunity to get in these at some lower prices here for those who have never been involved. The cycle itself, right? Even if this from this pullback here from 65,000, our subscribers who got in last year, okay, they're still up like 400% on Bitcoin. They're up like 6,000% on some of these alternate coins. On one of them, they're up 20,000% on one of these alternate coins. It's like, as bad as a pullback is, it's a blip in time considering what's still coming this year.
All right, well, there you go. If you don't get in now, don't send me an email in a couple months saying we didn't tell you. I don't want to respond to those emails. I got them too much a couple months ago, and now's your opportunity. So, well, there you go. I don't want to dwell on that. Put those codes in there if you want to get a discount. Bo is not only gracious with his time to come on the show and prepare these slides, but he gives you a 50% off of his services here. And so you can key that in, WLT49 if you want his newsletter, and WLT39 if you want a discount on that crypto school, which is really fantastic. Bo, I've gone through that and referred several people to that, people who know that I'm in crypto and they say, hey, can you help me do it? And I just don't have the time. It takes a while to walk someone through all the things they have to do. And I can't do it for everyone. I can't even do it for some family members because I just don't have the time to do it. So if you want that personal attention, the school is a great word because it takes you through step by step how to do it and how to do it safely. So you want that if you are new to this, but you want to get in. So, well, Bo, let me get off of those screens. I didn't want to forget about that, but let's wrap us up here. Let me go back to your slide 7 and give us a short summary here as we wrap things up, and tell us what we're looking for in the next couple of days.
Okay, so then in closing, we're heading into 45 days, which is tomorrow. Today's 444. Critical, important time point right now, as I've stated in the past. That's going to take us to 333 days forward to next June. So between now and next June, I'm telling you, everything's going to go crazy. Not only that, we've got into Thanksgiving of this year is 180 degrees. So the world's going to be looking at 180 degrees different before Thanksgiving of this year. The Trump cycle that we initially talked about way back a couple of years ago, that itself ends in 2023. That's cycle 1. Okay. That means Trump probably going to have a second cycle. So that, we'll see what ends up happening. But I'm telling you, it's really important in these next 3.5 years to do something, not just for yourself, but for your family. Okay, that's critical. You got to get involved, because when you study this presentation later on, you got the bowls of wrath. We're talking horrible things are coming upon this world, famine, pestilence. But the goal is to get into the wilderness, eventually buy properties or be involved in it, get in the mountains. The cities are going to be not safe places in the future. So we've got a window. God is giving his church a window in time.
I can't believe we got this far in the interview and I didn't ask you about this, but so far we've been talking about the day of vengeance is coming and vengeance is the Lord's, and that's all true. And we've been talking about how some of these wrongs are going to get righted. But what we haven't talked about is, and you just mentioned it, the Trump cycle 1 and Trump cycle 2. Are you still seeing that he's coming back? I mean, is that in your cycles that he's not done yet?
You know what the prophets have said, Noah, okay? The prophets will be proven correct. That's the best answer I can give you, okay? The word of God. I can tell you from a cycle standpoint, it's mathematically not cyclically possible for it to happen until after 444.
Ah, okay.
Okay, because you have to have God's vengeance, God's hand. You have to have the movement of God to start to create the momentum for the shift, which means that if we're going to be 180 degrees different by when, Noah? Thanksgiving. So between now and Thanksgiving, there's your answer of what's about to happen.
I love it. 46.
And I don't know the dates. I'm just telling you that it's a 45-degree cycle, 45-day, 4 times 45, 180-degree vision in a different direction. The world will be headed by Thanksgiving. And you're only going in a different direction with a new leader.
I love it. I love it. That maybe the rightful leader retaking his place. That is fantastic.
Yeah, not a new leader, but the return of, right?
Yes. Oh, that's great news. Great news. Well, Bo, thank you. Let me just thank you on behalf of everybody watching. Thank you for coming back on the show today. for taking your time. We're recording this on Friday afternoon, and you choose to be here with us doing this. A real pleasure. Thank you for coming on. We are going to be watching eagerly over the next few days, and I have a feeling that next time we have you back on, we're going to start to see that first 45-degree shift taking place.
God bless you. God bless your viewers. Be faithful, stand strong, faith in the Lord, because he loves us and he's not going to forsake us. He's not going to forsake his secondborn, the United States. Okay, his firstborn was Israel. So the United States has a covenant with God because it was founded under God. And don't think for a second that God's going to forsake the United States. But the United States must first fall. It must fall. So what happens here in the near future, don't be scared, okay? It's all in the plan, but the United States must fall. It's going to look horrible. It's going to look like God maybe abandoned us, but he didn't. He is doing this to wake up his church. How do you wake up a church, Noah? You got to knock it to its knees. So don't be surprised if when chaos hits here soon, something big goes down, the United States it's going to fall. But when it rises, it will rise from its knees with God. So God bless you. God bless your family, Noah, your viewers. Thanks for having me back on. This is going to be an exciting, exciting year.
We're ready. Thank you, Bo. We'll see you on the next one.